So next up, we have James Sinka, who is the Chief Science Officer at Bio, and he'll be walking you through the Bio Launchpad, and then you'll get to meet some of the new DAOs that are going to be launching. So for those of you who don't know, BioDAOs are community-run organizations that look at funding and progressing science within a specific topic or an area. Molecule and Bio have helped launch a number of DAOs over the years. A lot of shared learnings and things that we get to share with other people, which is great, because I think that is really the ethos of DeSci, is, everyone helps each other. So yeah, the DAOs that you're going to be meeting today have not raised yet, but they're looking to raise, or actually, I believe some of them, Spine DAO I know has raised. But other than that, we have Spine DAO, obviously Spine Research, Reflex DAO, Dick DAO, I'll let you guess that one, Sleep DAO, Microbiome DAO, and T1 DAO, Type 1 Diabetes DAO. They'll all be presenting their projects. I also had someone come up to me and ask, how do I get involved in DeSci? What's the best area? And I actually would say, honestly, these new DAOs, they're really nascent, and they often are looking to build team members and can use the support.
Please take back the USB receiver to avoid losing it.
Sorry, the laptop's talking to me. But if you guys can't hear it, then that's all good. But yeah, I think these are a really good place to get started and to get in at the ground up, honestly, when people need the help most. So if there's anything here that piques your interest, find that person and speak to them later. Cool. Thanks so much.
GM, everyone. How are we doing this morning? All right, there we go. Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is James. For those who don't know me, I'm the chief scientist here at Bio. For those who have been paying attention, we have been doing a ton of work putting incredible BioDAOs on chain. I'm going to start this one off. It's a very quick, brief intro for what is Bio, what we do, what are the DAOs, and then as Ella mentioned, we're going to pass it off to our fantastic BioDAOs to give you a taste of the science they're working on. All right. We heard this morning from Paul. We know scientists spend way too much time trying to get money, not enough time actually doing the science. As it turns out, pharma also has an absolutely massive problem. For those who don't know, we have this term in the industry called Eroom's law, which is the inverse of Moore's law. Eroom's law states that with every passing year, we get less and less efficient for producing biopharmaceutical drugs with every dollar that we put in. Also, we've learned that companies are encouraged to be spending money developing treatments instead of cures. The lifetime value to a biotech company goes down if your patients are cured of their disease. This model means we cannot expect people whose incentives are to generate profits for themselves to come and save us. We have to save ourselves. This reminds me of an adage Balaji has said many, many times on podcasts, which is it's easier to invent Bitcoin than it is to reserve the Fed. I think we have an opportunity to do the same thing here in biotech and with DeSci. BioXYZ has built this infrastructure. We're a platform where anyone can financialize and co-own scientific R&D and medicines of the future. And I'll go a little bit into what this looks like. In the same way that Fed and fiat money became Bitcoin, trad biotech is becoming DeSci or Bio. Bio is this new system. BioDAOs are the networks, the groups, the scientists, the research collectives that are actually making that science happen, and you're going to hear from a bunch of incredible DAOs in just a moment. But for those who don't know what a DAO is, these are a set of tokenized research collectives or networks. So these DAOs are co-founded by really passionate patients or scientists in an area of expertise. They then launch a token to finance and fundraise for their research. That money goes and is spent into cutting-edge R&D. That R&D develops intellectual property, which is then monetized, and the proceeds of that monetization gets put into the next generation of R&D. The beauty of this model is that patients are now in the driver's seat. Instead of you being stuck and hoping some biopharmaceutical executive cares about delivering you a cure instead of a treatment, you are in control, you have a governance right, and get to direct how this research gets developed and what the paths to monetization are. no one knows better what to do with a breakthrough drug for a disease than the people who have that disease. We've launched over a dozen DAOs in our ecosystem so far across a ton of different R&D ecosystems, and we have a bunch more that are in stealth, and I'm excited for you to hear about later. Finally, Bio represents this growing portfolio, ever-growing, of DAOs and intellectual property assets that are backed by cutting-edge science. On the right side, right here, is some of the intellectual property that BioDAO has developed, our most mature DAO that's 4 years old at this point. But as you go to the left on the stack, we get higher and higher level, where Bio is sort of the representative of this entire growing ecosystem. And our vision is that we can tokenize the world's best scientific assets. We want to let patients and consumers participate in the wealth creation of biotech and actually be the drivers of where medicine goes. We foresee hundreds of BioDAOs tackling the most important science across the world. And soon you're going to hear from some of the most exciting ones up on stage next. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. Let's welcome to the stage first. Do you have a set running order that you want to follow?
Whatever the slides have been.
Okay. Cool. Well, first up, we've got T1 DAO. Jackie? Is it you or Michael? Okay, perfect. Cool. Okay. Sorry, guys. 1 minute. While we're waiting, I'll tell you a bit about the history of this building. So the St. Agnes Church was a parish that I think started around 1920. And then post-World War II, they decided to build themselves a home. And this is how we got this fantastic building. But around 2001, they needed to scale down. And in 2011, Johann and Lena Koenig bought this gallery. And turned it into a gallery space. They've kind of tried to keep it as similar as possible. So there's a lot of what you'll see is pretty much what you were seeing 50, 60 odd years ago, which is amazing. We are currently sitting in the town hall, essentially. So lots of education and stuff happening around in this space. It is why we colloquially refer.
Please take back the USB receiver to avoid losing it.
Computer keeps talking to me. It keeps telling me to take the USB receiver out, but hey, not my problem. But yeah, so a church space, which is why we call it the DeSci Church. Cool. Jackie and Michael, here you are.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me and Michael here today. I want to take a moment to just thank the DeSci Berlin team for putting on such an incredible event. So I have been in academia, in particular in type 1 diabetes research, for the last 6 years. And if there's one thing I've noticed during that time, as we've heard today, is that traditional science and academic research needs our help. But today we're going to be talking to you about how we plan on helping T1D research in particular through the formation of a T1D-centric DAO known as T1 DAO, which is a global community advancing solutions for type 1 diabetes. So I just want to first start by setting the scene and talking about the global impact of type 1 diabetes. But what actually is T1D, or type 1 diabetes? It's a chronic autoimmune disease. So it means that when patients are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, they live with it for the rest of their life. And it's characterized by the beta cells within the pancreas that are responsible for making insulin that controls our blood glucose levels. They are attacked by one's own immune system, which renders the patient unable to make their own insulin. And unfortunately, this disease has no cure. So instead, patients have to undergo lifelong insulin therapy. But unfortunately, insulin therapy cannot completely prevent long-term complications associated with type 1 diabetes, such as vision loss, nerve damage, kidney disease, and cardiovascular disease. But also what's very concerning is that, like a lot of autoimmune diseases actually, the incidence, so the number of new cases per year of type 1 diabetes is on the rise. So currently there's 9.5 million people living with T1D globally, but that has been predicted to reach around 13.5 to 17.4 million by 2040. And there's also a significant financial burden associated with T1D. So it's been estimated that the societal economic burden is around $500,000 per patient in the US alone. So with that in mind, it's clear that solutions aimed at managing and treating type 1 diabetes are needed. And so investing in research and development in this space, we hope that we can find such solutions. So why does T1D research actually need our help? So there's a couple of reasons listed here. First of all, there's this untapped potential in directly involving patients and advocates in T1D research. But also we know researchers in general need support both financially and through peer-to-peer collaboration, which can be facilitated through a global network. And lastly, early stage research often struggles to receive funding from larger funding bodies, despite its enormous potential. So therefore, T1 DAO has this vision to create a global community dedicated to accelerating T1D solutions. So we want to bring together researchers, clinicians, patients, entrepreneurs, and advocates in the space to collaboratively fund and contribute to T1D research. So how exactly will that happen? We've got 3 key strategies that was listed here. Firstly, as I mentioned, we want to create a global T1D network. This is really critical in bringing together people from all jurisdictions to advance T1D care. And secondly, we've come up with a strategy which comes from the fact that we're aware that finding long-term solutions that can cure type 1 diabetes will take a lot of time. And so we want to create this short-term revenue to sustain our DAO in the short term. And we want to do that by partnering with market-ready companies in continuous glucose monitoring and in consumer health to drive adoption through association with our DAO. But of course, in the meantime, we want to be investing in long-term solutions so by that we mean funding research projects, IP, and startups that are around treating and preventing T1D. So I'll hand over to Michael.
Cool. We're going to go quickly. We got a 2-minute warning. So this is just a flywheel, and there have been a lot of models in the BioDAO space seeking to get revenues early on via consumer products, et cetera. HairDAO's done some of this, I think Vita DAO a little bit as well. So our idea is to capture a little bit of the device market in type 1 diabetes, CGM, continuous glucose monitors, and pumps, et cetera. The idea being that people would want to support a global community effort rather than a big pharma company that produces their devices currently. And some of that funding can be recycled back into the sort of early stage research to overcome some of the value of death problem in the space. So quickly, yeah, and this is our timeline, pretty self-explanatory. This is all subject to change. We're looking really for someone like a superstar academic or someone in the space to sort of headline a lot of this. I think it needs that sort of scientific credibility to move forward, and that's something that would be good for BioDAOs in general, to have someone with a little more seniority and credibility in these communities to really lead the charge rather than just Web3 people. Nothing against Web3 people. This is our team. I think one of the distinguishing characteristics of this is the excellence of the advisors. Brian from Cerebrum DAO, James Brody's a legend in the space. Web3 space, and great guy. Russell has type 1 diabetes himself and is willing to put in some funding towards this. So everything's really teed up. We just need collaborators, and particularly, someone to really lead the charge on the scientific side. So I think that's it. If you want to scan the QR code, if you have any thoughts or suggestions, we're happy to have you.
Hello. Thank you so much, guys. T1 DAO is one that I'm super excited about, namely because the team met during our DeSci Edu course, which we were running and I helped run, and is my baby. So really excited to see sort of the fruits of those labors. Next up, we have DeRMA DAO. DermaDAO is obviously looking at skincare, which I think is also, again, another really interesting use case, because it kind of aligns with the same sort of principles that DAO has, which is, these issues that I think people are confronted with every single day. And it creates this really, really impassioned, active community. So I'm looking forward to see what they say.
Nice. Today, I would like to share a story, a bit atypical. A story that I kept secret for a long time, but that I would finally like to share with you, because it is also the reality of more than 600 million people in this world. Yes, you heard right. 600 million people who, like me, are in prison.
After the presenter is turned off, please take back the USB receiver to avoid losing it.
All right. Yes. This prison is called my skin, a very reactive skin that bleeds and itches day and night, night and day. It is the story of eczema, a disease that tripled these last 50 years and touches more than a third of the kids worldwide. And did you know that eczema is not just an annoying cosmetics issue? It is also deeply linked with depression, with all the stigma, the shame, the loneliness and isolation. This disease does not have a cure yet, and is still very mysterious to this day, as its research is incredibly underfunded and communities underserved. To observe the current global funding trends in eczema treatments research, we can see there are two sides. The nonprofit and institutional sector that have put up to 8 million, and on the other side, of course, the big pharma and private sector, who have put up to 2.5 billion until now, but mostly not in any long-term cure treatments, but more in short-term band-aid solutions, and I've tried quite a few myself. And these numbers here, we're talking on a global scale. Despite these alarmingly poor numbers, and despite eczema being one of the top most burdensome non-fatal diseases worldwide, eczema is still an illness that has yet to find a cure. Because the incentives of the stakeholders who do have the money to fund its research are not aligned with the incentives of the ever-growing pool of patients. And skin is an underrated healthcare intervention. Eczema is underfunded, not because it is unimportant, but because it doesn't align with the current funding system's priorities. There are also many systemic issues in the industry, such as data, trust, integrity, that all slow down innovation. Eczema, in this context, I would have loved to have a voice and a choice in my past 30 years of eczema skin health adventures. A voice in a patient-driven community where I could share my pains but also my hopes. A voice, a choice in a never-ending spiral of blind steroid creams prescriptions. Unfortunately, I did not have that chance, and today I still suffer from eczema, but I don't suffer in silence anymore. This is why we're launching DermaDAO. We're a group of skin health enthusiasts that are building a better way. Instead of relying on academic funding, we're community-funded and owned. Our community is extremely passionate about their skin and will stop at nothing to build a world with healthier skin. And why now? We have tried all of this above, and while results are promising, we could do so much more. Skin is ubiquitous and easy to culture for doing real biotech. We've seen so many DAOs succeed in the past, and our existing patient community would love to use it to finally find their voice and choice. These screenshots are snippets of the comment section of my YouTube videos around skin health and eczema treatments, and these have been written by my community of skin angels. Our skin angels here share their unfiltered skin stories of pain, of hope, of self-compassion, of forgiveness, and they support each other by liking and commenting on each other's comments and the comments of the comments. And this is just giving me shivers because there is really something happening here. There is a demand to be heard and needs to be met. So many unmet medical needs. And here they share tips and advices of different length and depth. And yes, there is really something here that is happening. And our dear, dear skin angels, they are the ones, I believe, that will be the first voice of our DermaDAO community. And now I'd like to introduce you to our Skin Angels team with our doctors. We have 3. They're all skin health experts, and they've helped me throughout my worst crisis in my skin journey. I've also learned so much from them, as they are also involved in different functional medicine and dermatology research initiatives. And they also advised me a lot these past years, as this is not my first venture in skin. I have built a company of skincare for kids and babies. And here on the second line, Jiyoung and Miriam, who have all the global audiences and communities in dermocosmetics, and Anne and Sarah, who have all the expertise in knowledge and products from small to big pharma companies. Last but not least, there is me. I'm a French-Korean eczema awareness and wellness advocate, and I co-founded a skincare brand educating families and kids around eczema. I worked 8 years in Web3, and today I want to merge these 2 worlds to bring you DermaDAO. Here is our product roadmap. I had a 2-minute warning, so I'll skip fast. Phase 1, Community and Data Foundation, with the MVP Skin Scan app launching and Skin Streak Challenge to incentivize our community to upload pictures of their skin. And then Phase 2, Validation Engine, will launch Open A/B Trials platform and tokenize reputation without patients, research, and community. Phase 3 Plus will launch the IP crowdfunding and moonshots, such as fund biotech partnerships and launch biobank pilots with molecule labs and our communities. In terms of long-term moonshots, partial reprogramming therapies for skin renewal, phage therapy for skin microbiome correction, a big one, and a hyper-personalized aging prediction model with facial scans. So this was my atypical and atopic story. And every skin condition tells a story of hope, of trial, of patience and resilience. DermaDAO gives that story power, and it is time to stop scratching the surface. If my story, the story of so many, resonated with you, please ping me on Telegram at DermaDAO or scan this QR code to find our website and join our first newsletter. Let's write a new chapter in skin health together. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. I was a childhood eczema sufferer, and I really do understand how it changes the way you interact with the world. So you've got a community member in me already. Okay, next up we have, I'm waiting for the slide, Sleep DAO. Welcome to the stage, Sleep DAO.
I think this is the logo work. Sorry, guys.
I think we've got the wrong deck up here. Let's move on to the next while we sort this out.
Actually, this is what you guys saw earlier. This is the design work that we did as the Sleep DAO with the Bio team, their graphic designer, and it was phenomenal work. Like, shout out to the Bio team for the great support they provide all of their.
I was going to say, I can give you some hidden alpha. So we have our DeSci designer, Sai, who has been involved in many of the DAO's branding, and he will be giving a workshop tomorrow. So if you want to hear all about DeSci branding, you can chat to Sai. Okay, next up, we're going to have Microbiome DAO while we sort up the right deck. Yeah. We'll sort it out. Cool. Thanks for the clap, everyone. Microbiome DAO, I feel like every time I come up here, I say I'm so excited, but I really am genuinely excited about all these different DAOs. Microbiome DAO I'm very excited about because Kiho is about to get up on stage. And Kiho came to work for Molecule as a nucleate fellow about a year ago. His DeSci Berlin was he was maybe a month into his DeSci journey last year. Came, met people, and literally from that sort of came Microbiome DAO, and now Kiho's full-time DeSci Max, he's spreading the word, and is starting his own DAO, which I think is really amazing, and, in all honesty. So yeah, welcome to the stage, Kiho.
Thank you, Ella. Thank you for the intro. I was at the same seat there when I said I want to build a gut health DAO last year, and now we are here with Microbiome DAO. Let's go. Yeah. So what is microbiome? First, basics. Microbiome is basically a collection of microorganisms. This can be bacteria, virus, fungi, archaea. This can be around us, within us. And one of those prominent microbiome that we are discussing here today is gut microbiome, because it is most extensively studied microbiome. And if you see, microbes kind of overpower us genetically for making up this entire complex human systems. We need 20,000 genes. But for the cumulative genetic output of these microbiomes is around 9 million genes, and they total for 10% of the metabolites that's produced in our body. And gut microbiome is the OG influencer. From obesity to depression, it produces a lot of things, and it's kind of linked with disruption of gut and other ailments that is linked to brain health, regenerative health. It could be cardio diseases, muscular health, skin health, reproductive health, a lot of different things. And why microbiome is a problem now? Because we have lost around like 44% of our microbiome compared to our ancestral population. That means we are running with half the capacity. And how are we compensating to this loss? Is by endless drugs and supplements to kind of support our system to keep us alive. And one of the prominent things that we might hear often about microbiome is that 90% of the serotonin, which is the hormone responsible for long-term motivation and happiness, is produced in the gut, stimulated by these microbes. So imagine a situation where you don't have these microbes responsible for producing the precursor of serotonin. You might not feel happiness from within. That's when you go for external supplements and drugs to feel more than what it is. So if now you understood like why microbiome is important, and now you start to look for solutions to solve this problem, right? But the microbiome industry is broken. Usually your microbiome journey starts with a stool sample. You take a sample of your fecal matter and you analyze it in the lab. And depending on where you send the sample, you get 30% variance. And each test might cost you around $250 plus. And all these data sets that has been created by collecting all these microbiome samples are predominantly coming from, around 70% is coming from Western population. So imagine if you build an AI model training with such data set, it's going to be skewed. It's not going to work for the global population, right? And around $1 billion worth microbiome data sets that lying down there in academia and in general microbiome ecosystem is rendered useless because they lack one important thing, which is the metadata, like who the patient is, what he ate, and what sort of medications he was going through, what sort of clinical predispositions this person had. So because of that, it's not useful. So that is where we are exactly building the data layer. We are supplying the data layer for the microbiome ecosystem, because you see like there's a lot of funding that's been pumped into microbiome research in academia, and you have $1 billion market that's operating in the space of testing companies and probiotics. So we are not going to go there. We are operating somewhere in between to provide them with real-world data sets. So our journey started here at Zoo Gramma. It's one of the pop-up cities that happened in India this year. And we ran a study with a bunch of DeSci enthusiasts, and we did a microbiome study with 55 participants around 21 days at 1/5 the cost of clinical trials, traditional clinical trials. Of course, it's not a clinical trial, but you could run trials at a cost which is way less. We just tested a lifestyle and dietary intervention. We tested a particular dietary protocol, And this is what happened. This is the first time science is coming out of institutional border. It's not just about decentralizing science, it's also deinstitutionalizing science, giving power to the people, right? So here is where we started the first village. And so this yielded some data sets, like it can be anything from patient data to clinical data, and this will belong to this data room. And then we will scale this up to a couple of other villages, and then this will generate further data rooms. As funders, you can go fund one of these pop-up city science trials, which is phase 1 of the Microbiome DAO. And then this will all be part of the IP hub, something like Molecule Labs, part of Microbiome DAO. The co-founders own this. And then this in the front and the back end is protected by this sort of pay-to-compute model. So this is a place where we are moving from user privacy to user sovereignty, where we are not just giving any more privacy to the users, but also giving them the ability to monetize their data and earn from it. And with this model, the buyer will not be able to copy or download your data out of the system. They will be only allowed to run computational algorithms on top of your anonymized data set. So your data remains same. You can monetize it several times. So this buyer could be anyone from a pharma company or a biotech company who's looking at gut-brain axis, gut reproductive axis, or multiple things. And we will connect them with you. And then whatever returns we get, it goes for the funders, the DAO treasury, and the co-founders, be it any other DAOs that support us in the study. And then a part of this goes as rewards for the participants. We are planning to test this, validate this MVP by end of this year. We already did one village. We have a couple more villages, which is already scheduled. And quickly going to the next one, this is, okay. So this is something that we are trying to match the speed of crypto with biotech. So it's sort of a biome trial prediction market. Let's say you have a hypothesis. You can put this hypothesis. Once a considerable stake is given to a certain hypothesis, a trial is mobilized, and then a data room comes. Again, you can validate hypothesis at a speed of crypto, closer to the speed of crypto in this way. And again, like we connected with the buyers and validate this by end of next year. So the next natural step is to incubate and use these data sets, real-world data sets, to incubate biotech ventures, specifically into the microbiome science, using DAO resources and community. And this is our value creation model, as I said. Knowledge to market products, and knowledge to innovation can be data sets and protocols. So quickly, last step. We have some current projects. One is Biome AI. You can go to our Discord and test Biome AI. What it does is trying to keep microbiome science in current, which is the knowledge graphs. So it informs physicians and everyone on what is the current update on microbiome science. And the digital twin will help you analyze your microbiome report in your personal context. Each of these reports are 50 pages long. This AI will help you to understand for your personal context. And it will challenge you in a personalized way to build new habits. And this is our app, which we are building. Interesting one thing is poop monsters. So testing, if you want to taste a stool test, it would cost you a lot, and it's not scalable, it is not affordable, and it's not available in every part of the world. So what you can do is already start using your number one biological waste, which is your poop, as number one health indicator, and build on that. You can collect images of your poop to build these monsters, or you can just record manually. And then if you feed it with your diet logs, then the monster would grow, and you can, at a point, you can kill this monster to generate a free microbiome testing kit, which could then help you to analyze your gut more in a more sort of personalized way. And the last project is Golden Poop Protocol. We are trying to connect with, so yeah, Golden Poop is really a golden poop. There are some people who tends to have this sort of unique microbiome, which is full of like healthy bacteria and all of that. And this is one and only FDA-approved therapy, which is FMT, fecal microbiota transplant. You basically take a shit from a healthy person and give it to an unhealthy person, so the person recovers. And we want to connect it in a decentralized ecosystem, because this can cost you from $800 to $10,000, depending on where you live and different context. So we want to build a decentralized ecosystem for that. That's it. So finally, we are Microbiome DAO, global nonprofit. Biome is your single token to fund science and own the upside. You can join us, be a contributor, funder, give your time, help us build a community. And we put community first. And microbiome isn't a collection of bacteria. It's a natural force you don't reckon it with. Last thing, scan this QR code. We have a special DeSci Berlin micropunks We are releasing it here. You can directly mint it to your wallet. It will be randomized based on the response that you give. And yeah, probably then you could use these micropunks to get a fermented drink after your lunch. Awesome. Thanks.
Okay, cool. So before the poo transplant, we'll just all have fermented drinks. Thank you, Kehoe. Okay, next up we have DAO. Let's hope they rise to the occasion.
Hello. Hello everyone, I'm Sun. I'm a medical doctor and I'm also a Web3 lead at DAO. It's really great to be here. Now, everyone please repeat after me. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, Dick. Thank you. So, how do you feel when you hear the word dick or even say the word dick? Funny? Shameful? Uncomfortable? And yes, sometimes it feels wrong to say the word dick out loud. And that's exactly how men feel when they have to talk about their men's sexual health problems. At this moment, there are 300 million men who are suffering from erectile dysfunction globally. And their testosterone level have dropped more than 20% in the last 30 years. Men's sperm count have decreased more than half since 1970s. And yet, there's no funding. Data shows that from 2012 to 2021, the NIH has only spent $1.6 million to fund men's sexual health research. That's only $160K per year. If this is not underfunded, what is? Now, when the system are ignoring 300 million men who are suffering, that's when we build. Let me introduce you to DAO. We are an upcoming Bio DAO fixing men's sexual health on-chain. Our vision is to create a community where doctors, researchers, scientists, patients, and everyday men working together toward a real solutions. They will co-create, co-contribute, co-invest, and they will co-own the cure to the real sexual health problem. At DAO, we are not only focused on one symptom, one disease. We are trying to fix men's sexual health as a whole. We are focusing on both physical and mental aspects of men's sexual health. And right now, we are caught in a death spiral, where if we are not doing something now, we are going to weaken the next generation of men. As you can see, both unhealthy mind and unhealthy body are both the leading cause of erectile dysfunction, low testosterone, decreased sperm count, and male infertility. And all of this will be imprinted in a genetic level or will be passed down into the next generation. And on a side note, a minor problem like forceful circumcision in some countries are one of the leading causes of unhealthy mind and unhealthy body in men's sexual health. So what are we going to do? We are going to cure erectile dysfunction. We are going to stop the declining of testosterone. And we are going to reclaim what was taken, which is called foreskin restoration. And yes, it exists for a long time, but it's now a painful and very long journey. And we are going to make it better and more efficient through science. And I want to introduce you to the infinite flywheel, where we will invest in men's sexual health research and IPs. And we will looking to use the revenue from product sales, IP licensing, tech transfer, use the revenue to buy back the DIC token, to invest in more research, more IPs, and reward contributors. That way, we'll be going to build a sustainable flywheel of innovation in men's sexual health. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, like, why DIC? To be honest, right now, the attention in DeSci space is not really great. because crypto people, they cares about new shiny things, funny stuff, memes. So we are going to introduce a new component into DeSci space, which is fun science, scientific memes. And that way we can grab people's attention and invite them into the community where they will learn about the real problem that we are fixing, the challenges, the cures, and the science. Essentially, we use dig to grab attention. And we will use science to create contributors. In crypto, we have to be fast. And in science, we have to be faster because people are suffering. And right now, we are ready. Let me introduce you to this. Libio is our first science-backed supplement that we have been working on for years. And right now, as we speak, we are planning to conduct a scientific survey with real patients in our clinic. And after DAO launch, this will be our first IP token, and we will initiate a full-scale scientific trial to determine the efficiency of the product. We aim to create the first IP token that uses the revenue to accrue the value back into the IP token. So the flywheel will start since day one. Our team is led by Dr. Ravi or Dr. Nat. He is a urologist from Thailand. He specializes in men's sexual health, has treated almost 1,000 cases of ED and more. And our team consists of medical doctors who are also Web3 native like myself. So I have both medical literacy and I understand Web3 culture. So I believe we are perfect fits for DeSci. Lastly, I want to state that we are not here to compete with anyone. We are here to build in the valley of death, where no one will. I believe what we are doing here matters. DeSci matters. And I believe that DeSci will win. And I believe that we will win. Thank you. Also, I have a lot of swag and sticker to give out, so let's connect afterward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it's great that they have sort of a supplement already on the go and ready to be distributed to people. I think people start DAOs at varying stages and levels, so very cool to see that there's a supplement ready for the people. Next up, we have Reflex DAO. Oh, does someone have the clicker?
Testing? Yeah. Hey, my name is Robin. I'm one of the co-initiators of Reflex DAO, and we are all about chronic disease detection, early detection of chronic diseases. So, and we do this by monitoring the autonomic nervous system of people. And so we do this by using fitness wearables, so wearables that people are using, and we are selling our own one. So the idea is the heart rhythm of a person in a fine granular way can really give you a lot of insights into dysfunctions and help you to predict when somebody will have a chronic disease in the future. So this can be 5 to 10 years in the future, and other independent research also now supports this. See this? And so our mission is basically to bring together the people who are collecting the data, scientists, which then use the data to help predict the chronic diseases, and the technicians which build all of this. So from our point of view, most chronic diseases are really preventable. So if you know about them early enough, you can start taking measures, and by continuously measuring yourself, you can then see whether these measures are effective for yourself. And so chronic diseases are kind of a very big issue. So 90% of the US health spending is because of chronic diseases. So when you have one, it's then too late to really do much about it. So our point is that you have to start early enough to measure yourself, to get information, and then to prevent it. So our team is Jason, who is doing the science part. He's a doctor in the US. Mike, who's working on the DFlow and technology. Max, he's our online marketer. And Robin, I'm the blockchain AI guy. I work in the Web3 space for a long time already. And we're working with partners, so like we're building on existing technology, like Ocean Protocol, Peak, and we are part of UK Leap, so a research project in the UK. And we're working with other DAOs as well, and we are working with Bio Protocol, of course. So the thing that we're offering is like the wearables on the one side, integrating an existing one, creating our own ones, which are then catered towards getting the specific data. We have an application in iOS and Android, and we are working on a bio data bank, where all the data is then decentralized, collected, and where scientists can access the data and use it. So currently, we are supporting now the ReflexDAO R&D device. We're supporting Whoop without any subscription, so if somebody has a Whoop and doesn't want to pay, they can use it in our app. Polar H10 for ECG data, and Apple Watch. And we're working on integrating all devices that connect to Apple Health Kit and to Google Fit, so that every piece of data that users are collecting can be used in a decentralized way. Currently, we have our lab already live, so we have 102 users which are taking part in this decentralized trial that we're continuously running. So you can see we have around about 5,000 recordings, and if I could show the website, it's live, so if I do a recording now, it basically ticks up here. And this data is then available over our insights part in the decentralized lab to run experiments on it, to define trials. And our goal is to, in the future, connect this with like LLMs, so you can talk to the data of everybody, you can talk to your own data, and then you can publish these insights on the blockchain, and everybody can start using them. And so here it's in a more detailed way. So on the left side, you have the community, which brings in the data into the biodata bank. This is then connected to our lab. And from the lab, then in our clinic, you can create like products. So let's say a researcher finds a great insight, then somebody can create a subscription for the users. So they are able to then apply this to their own data. And so these are the technical components that we're building, a value chain to go from data to scientists and to clinicians, and then come back to the user itself. If we go into this into a little bit more detail, so then we have like a flywheel. So we start on the right side with the wearable users data, with the users and the data. It then goes into the biodata bank, and there can be a payment for this. From there we go to the researchers. From the researchers we go to the product. And then the individuals can start to subscribe to this. So like, let's say I want to know whether I have sleep apnea or whether I will have a fibrillation in the future. So I can take my mobile phone inside our app, I can subscribe to it. Let's say I pay $1. Now many people do this. And by everybody in the ecosystem using wallets, we are able to now distribute all of this money back to everybody without us taking the money, but the money going into a smart contract. And so we're able to now go from like multiple users' data over the scientists to the innovators who make the products back to the users, so the users get their own benefit out of it and can pay for it, but everybody kind of without the middleman is getting money back. And so, yeah, that's basically what we're building right now. We're quite far along the road, so like we're doing the algorithms right now and working on the subscription, so like we have many of the parts already covered. And the thing is that we're also on the Bio Protocol Launchpad, so if you have some bio tokens and you want to create us, so here's a QR code that you can scan. After that, we will go to the auction. It's on the base chain. So if you want to put your bio tokens to a good use, then please help us with that. Yeah, and so you can also join us on Discord. So that's the QR code for that. We are selling our device already online, so if you want to buy our device, you can join us with that too. Yeah, so that's ReflexDAO. Thank you very much.
Amazing, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think wearables have sort of permeated into most of our lives, and DeSci really is the perfect use case for it, because when you bring in those principles of Web3 of data sovereignty and decentralization, and sort of incentivization around your own personal health data, I think all the dots connect there. So yeah, really well done, ReflexDAO. Next up, we have SpineDAO. So SpineDAO is actually, I think, of the DAOs that are presenting in this slot, the only DAO that's actually run their fundraiser already and obviously has closed it and are now getting started. So yeah, welcome to the stage, SpineDAO.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, we closed. Yes. We're done with this. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone, for having me. I'm Alex. I'm a foresight strategist, and I'm also the com-lead of SpineDAO. So how is your back doing, guys? Who has great? Everything is great with your back? I'm not sure this thing is working.
See, give it a moment.
We can do a stretch because we're going to talk about our back. So, yeah.
We're just getting the slide deck up, everyone.
Yes, spine updates.
Spine updates. Spine, there you are.
Choose the Google Slides, guys. There is a video there.
So yeah, maybe we can chat about spine DAOs just raised how much?
Oh, more than 800.
800.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's been a journey, guys. Be ready. Be ready, really.
Cool.
All right. I can see spine DAO on this screen, but yeah, okay, great. Perfect. So yeah, we're going to talk about spine. So just quick overview. Sadly, 80% of people will experience back pain over the course of their life. It's a lot, so probably like some of you. Back pain is the leading cause of work interruption worldwide, the #1 cause of disability worldwide. And this is aggravated by our modern life, right? Sedentarity, sitting for long hours, longevity also. And then comes to this healthcare pain points such as the major shortage of medical professionals, millions of healthcare experts lacking today. And the expert burnout due to overload of bureaucracy and many other inefficiencies in the healthcare system. So that leads us to a very painful result and very painful patient story to hear, such as this one.
I can't go out with friends on days when my back pain is really bad. I can't sleep without medication. It's horrendous. I psychologically now have just felt so alone in my back pain, like it is something psychological, and I end up doubting myself, like what if I have all this pain and it's so real because it's stopping my life, why aren't doctors listening to me? When I first found out that it was like Scheuermann's kyphosis, I was like, okay, I had no idea what that was. So I went online to look, and basically all I got was a summary of like the kyphosis. It wasn't anything like specific on what causes it, on what to do about it, treatments that can actually help me. I'm trying to see doctors for the past 4 years for extreme back pain in the thoracic area.
Yeah, Samantha's experience is actually very common. And as you can see, her back pain and her back problems prevent her from living her daily life. The unmanaged pain leads to mental health problems and challenges. Also, strong painkillers usage, like daily usage. And she spent actually 4 years to look for the right expert, which might sound really weird, but this is actually super common in this field. So we have a lot of different pain points in this field, and this is what we've been working on at Spine DAO. So Spine DAO, our mission is to provide the right care at the right time, and to do that, we are building the next generation of AI decentralized healthcare dedicated to spine care. So as Paul Kuhl has just said this morning, in order for DeSci to succeed, I'm quoting him, it needs to be data-driven. And here we are. We are this generation of biodata focusing on healthcare. And if you thought that like DeSci was only about creating new drugs, think again. There are a new, probably like cohort of, DeSci projects that are more focusing on like care, healthcare, and we are somehow maybe opening this field, right, with Spine DAO. So why choosing the decentralized DAO pathway? Well, because centralized healthcare is not anymore a sustainable paradigm for collecting data, and we all know that, right? So we need to build primitives to enable individuals to contribute in exchange, like to contribute with the data in exchange to token incentives. Because in order to be like data-driven, we need to gather more and more data. Maybe you know about that. 47% of patient data are today unused. And we need to find a way actually to collect those data, and decentralization can be actually the solution. So we are building a very granular system that enables like many different things to enable actually our system to overarch the prevention, the diagnosis, the intervention, and the recovery in spine care. The agents enable conversation care, triage capabilities, monitoring of recovery progress per personalized health protocols, open access to cutting-edge studies of research, et cetera, et cetera. And so we actually, since our inception early this year, we have been launched products that are all going to be integrated into a single platform. So today, we launched Lamina. Lamina is our conversational AI agent for spine care. It's here to support both patients and practitioners with the latest in spine health knowledge, and it's actually like an AI that can listen to patients, provide information, could potentially collect also valuable data over time to help guide care decisions. We also recently launched Kronos, which is another AI. We won the hackathon, the Bio AI hackathon from Bio with Kronos. It's a winning project that is actually overarching and bridging traditional medicine with modern science to create new hypotheses that need to be tested. And then last but not least, you will hear more about Filter very soon. It's our like patient triage AI product as well. So all those products are actually intertwined into one platform, enable actually to accelerate and solve all the pain points I just listed above, and we just heard from Samantha. So our team, it's composed, oh yeah, you can see Lamina, sorry. You can see Lamina here. This is our latest product, and you can actually use it. You can like ask any type of question related to spine. Soon you will be able also to upload all your medical imagery. And so yeah, this is Spine DAO. If you want to reach us, you can actually find me on Telegram and also on X. We are really open to welcome experts. We are welcome also to welcome technologists and also patients who would like to share their data and their journey. Thank you so much.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, I mean, like one of the observations I've made also throughout these pitches is like, I think the initial cohort of DAOs that started maybe a year or 2 years ago were really focused on funding. And so it's really cool to see now like the old DAOs and these new DAOs sort of diversify into like wearables, supplements, AI agents, and really starting to explore this full suite of what they can do. Cool, next up we have Long COVID Labs. Could we get Long COVID Labs? Here's your mic back.
All right. I'm here to talk about Long COVID Labs today. I'm Rohan, and at Long COVID Labs, we are accelerating a cure for long COVID. So the first question is probably, what is long COVID? So long COVID is defined as symptoms that persist 3 or more months after an initial COVID infection. So that's like fatigue, brain fog, neuropathy, heart issues, a whole bunch of stuff. But it seems to last for a long period of time. And, the pandemic's over. A lot of us have kind of moved on and memory hold that whole experience. But there are a ton of people who are still sick. There are 100 million people, at least around the world, who have long COVID now. That is costing $1 trillion per year to global GDP. That is a huge number. And now it is the leading cause of disability. It is larger than breast cancer, it is larger than asthma, it is larger than stroke, it's larger than diabetes. And this is causing a huge patient impact. The governments that are funding COVID-19 research have pretty much stopped doing that. Pharma companies are not that interested in funding this, and so a lot of patients feel desperate. And this is not just a numbers thing or a huge patient opportunity. This is actually my own personal story. So I myself got COVID in March of 2020. We're all Web3 people, so we're early adopters, so you gotta catch the new thing right away. And so I did. Initially, really mild infection. I was a healthy person, and then just kind of had 2.5 years of progressively worse symptoms. And then in December of 2021, I saw this paper from the NIH, and it actually totally changed my life. And that was an autopsy paper. So what happens oftentimes with new diseases and new viruses, we don't really know what's going on, right? And so you can oftentimes measure. And without measurement, you don't really know what's happening. What these NIH scientists did in the United States was they did autopsies of patients months and months and months after they got their initial COVID-19 infection. They died from, in some cases, not COVID, other things. But what they found was pretty horrifying. So what you can see here is basically a heat map showing viral particles all throughout the body and brain in these people up to 8 months after their initial infection. You can see particularly there's a bunch of red in the brain. It turns out that COVID-19 is a neurotropic virus. The virus had been in these people's brains for so long that it had actually started to mutate. So that's horrifying. But it's actually also very hopeful, and it was hopeful for me. Why is that hopeful? Well, it's hopeful because if long COVID, these symptoms that I was experiencing, that 100 million other people are experiencing, was caused by persistent virus, then there's a playbook that we can apply, which is antivirals. There's a host of other viruses where oftentimes you need to take antivirals and you clear the infection. Maybe that's what was going on here with long COVID. And so I started hacking on myself, finding doctors who would prescribe me antivirals and all kinds of different things. I tried a lot of stuff. And eventually I took a cue from HIV research. In HIV research, oftentimes you take these combination treatments, right? Combination antivirals. And so that's what I did. A long-acting monoclonal antibody combined with an antiviral, a replication inhibitor, and 3 treatments over 3 months. By the second treatment, my symptoms completely disappeared. And this is this journal that I was, keeping, which a lot of long COVID patients have some version of this on their phone or in their notes app or whatever. And you can see, I say kind of on, it's almost to the day, 3 years ago, I start feeling amazing, like healing is starting at my fingertips and toes and spreading all throughout my body. I'm ecstatic and thankful, and I can't believe I found a cure. It's a little hyperbolic, but it's how I felt. And we took this and raised $2.6 million with the help of Bio to basically take this idea and deliver it to as many patients as we can. And so what we're doing now is a moonshot to cure long COVID. So I use repurposed drugs. That is the fastest path to get people help, right? Those drugs already exist. How do we combine them in different ways to help ourselves? And so what we are doing now with the patient registry is basically looking at patients who, like myself, are self-experimenting with these different drugs and comparing them against each other so that we can see what doses are going to work, what combinations are going to work, what's going to be most effective to help clear long COVID. And again, Like in Ethereum, people love to say it's all about coordination. Here, it's also all about coordination. So I was a hacker, a biohacker, let's say, experimenting on myself. There's a lot of us out there, but all that data is kind of just going into the ether. It's not really helping anyone. And like I mentioned right from the beginning, there's not really much funding now for long COVID research. So how do we take these patients that are desperate, that are spending oftentimes tens of thousands of dollars to find treatments and cure themselves, and turn it into standardized data that we can actually take to a cure with regulatory bodies like the FDA. And the way we do that is by standardizing the input. And so what does that look like? That looks like an at-home blood collection kit that we are sending to people. This is called the Long COVID Labs kit. So what you get is a blood draw, a wearable ECG, a clinical grade ECG, 2 minutes, okay, and a standardized symptoms test. And we take all that information, and I'll just speed it up a little bit here, and we put it into this patient registry to find out what is going to actually help people. And so we raised our community auction in January. Within 3 months, we had more than 1,000 patients that had put data into the system, blood samples, which we are now working with UCSF and other folks around the world to analyze in terms of virus, remnants of virus, proteins, and RNA. And we treated our first patient. We went from a DeSci auction to a cure, to a treatment, rather, in a clinic within 3 months. And I think that's a first in the world. And so if you have friends who may have long COVID, if you yourself think that you could help with our mission here, we're now trying to accelerate this as much as we possibly can. Governments, pharma have really left this huge patient population behind, and oftentimes you don't see these people because they're sick. They don't come out. And so it's an invisible illness, but it's a huge, huge burden. And so if you can help, please do. This is a QR code you can scan to follow us and join our community, and we would love to help. Thank you.